I'm Jeanette with Prairie Dreams Decor, and I want to show you a Christmas bow. This bow will be used on a wreath that I'm showing, that I'm doing with my Facebook friends tonight, on a wreath that will be interchangeable. In other words, I'm gonna show them how to make bows with embellishments that can be changed for different seasons, different holidays. So anyway, here's the Christmas bow we're going to make. And the first thing I have, first kind of ribbon I have, I'm going to use 4 different ribbons. This is a 3.5 inch Ferris silk ribbon. It's very beautiful. This is a 2.5 inch velvet that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to also use this 2.5 inch Ferris silk ribbon. And this, what is it, 1.5? 1 inch. 1 inch Ferris silk ribbon. It's a velvet with white trim. Okay, let's get busy. First thing I'm going to do is measure out 10 inches for my tail. And then I'm going to pinch and pleat all the way across. I ought to lower that so you can see better. All the way across. And then put it down the middle of the bow maker. I'm using an easy bow maker tonight. We have to twist and turn so that the good side of the ribbon comes up when we make our loop. And I'm going to make 7-inch loop. Typically when I make, my favorite size of wreaths to make are 14 or 16 inches. And I typically only do a 6-inch loop on them. But for this particular instance, when we're making the bow, the center of attention, the main attraction, if you will, I want it to be a little bit bigger. So down in the center, twist and turn, and 7 inches this way. You see I'm using my hand to kind of guide where that needs to go. This is very heavy ribbon. If you can imagine, it's kind of like a tent tarp. It's very heavy, very, very beautiful, very nice. And then I'm going to cut off a tail. I just need 2 loops of this ribbon here. Okay. Let me set this aside. And next we will use the black velvet. It is so pretty. I'm gonna make the tail about the same length. I'm not measuring anymore after this. I'm just comparing it to what's already there. Push it down in the center. Twist and turn so we get the good side up for our loop. And I want these loops to come in about a 1/2 inch over from the from the previous one, which will be an inch smaller loop. So this will be a 6-inch loop, approximately. I'm not really measuring. It's hard to get everything to stay down in there when that heavy ribbon is in there. But we'll make it work. I feel like I'm not getting it all in there for you. About a 1/2 inch in, which will make it a 6-inch loop. And down, twist and turn. And the same thing on this side. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do my best to measure these against each other to make sure that we've got both sides about the way we want them. And I can already tell this side is much longer. And that happens. That happens sometimes, even when you're measuring. It's one reason why I don't really bother to measure on subsequent loops, because they still will get off. So that's much better. Okay. And it's really hard with that thick ribbon underneath there too. Twist and turn. And try to hold all that down in the middle. Oops. And measure it up against the previous bow, the previous loop, which isn't hard to do if everything would stand still. Twist and turn. And you'll notice how I'm guiding with the thumb that's free, trying to make sure that the edges are down too. I don't want the edges flipped up necessarily. I don't want them flipped down. I just want them even. Okay? And that's what will help your bow. Now, I won't say that this velvet is flimsy, because it's not, but it sure feels funny after handling that very thick, heavy Ferris silk ribbon. And I don't need to turn this piece now, because we're going to make it into a tail. So we've got one loop on each side of this heavy big ribbon, 2 loops on each side of this black velvet, and then we will have 2 loops on each side of the black and white. Okay. Here again, we're going to make a tail, measuring again against the previous tails. They don't have to be perfect. when we assemble our bow, when we put it on the wreath and everything, you never know which way it's going. I mean, you do know which way it's going to go because you're going to make it go the way you want it to go, but you don't know how exactly it's going to lay on top of the wreath. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want perfect. We want it to be handmade. If it was perfect, it would be made on a machine in China, right? Twist and turn. We're going to make our first loop. And once again, we're going to come in about 1/2 inch. Make that lay straight. See, this is very heavy too. It's just not quite as wide as that other one was. Can you see how that's stacking up? Pull this in just a little bit. This one's about 1/2 inch smaller than this one, and this one's about 1/2 inch smaller than that one. Don't waste time trying to be real persnickety about the measurements, because it just doesn't matter. What matters is that one side matches the other. Twist and turn this loop and push down the center. There we go. Now let me see how we're coming out as far as measurement here. That's pretty good. Do you see what I'm going for? The trick is to try to keep all this down. Twist and turn. Make another loop. Same size as the one underneath. There we go. Twist and turn. That one keeps wanting to wander away from me, so I need to pop that out there. Sometimes I can see better what's going on by looking in the camera. And this is our last loop, so we don't need to measure, and we don't need to twist and turn. Okay, now for our last ribbon. I think I'm just going to make a 3-loop section on using the red and white, and I'll show you what a 3-loop ribbon looks like. I'm trying to get these to behave. It's sometimes easier to manage everything while it's still in the dowels. Okay, once again, we're gonna compare it with our previous tails and push down, twist and turn, and Make this loop about a 1/2 inch smaller than the black and white. Push down, twist and turn. I usually try to twist and turn at the same time that I'm going down, but that's awfully hard with this heavy ribbon, hard to hold it down. And here we are for the second loop. And I think I can tell that this loop is bigger than the other, but let's see. See if I can hold it down to measure. No, not necessarily. They're about the same. Okay, so there's 2 loops. I'm going to twist and turn one more time. And I'm going to make a lot smaller loop. Sometimes call this the button loop. I've heard it called funny things, the nose of the bow. Heard it called all kinds of funny things. And I want it all about that big. Now, by doing it that way, we will have 2 red tails on the same side, and that's okay. We'll work it out. Okay. Now, here's the tricky part. I need to be able to put I need to smash that down as much as I can because I need to put this 8-inch twist tie under there, under there, excuse me. And it's not really that easy to do here. Let's get it started. Let me get some pliers. These will work. Kind of overkill for the job, but there we go. I don't want to tighten it down all the way yet. Let me move these things out of the way. I still need to put down my 16-inch florist wire. And that wire will be what attaches the bow to the wreath. So, first let's take a look at this stack here. This is what I see when I'm putting it together. And it looks stacked pretty nice, considering how hard it is. I do need to get this zip tie over to the middle more. I'm a little off center. So we smash it down and move that over. And the same way on this side. Let's see what this looks like. Yep, pretty close. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to the back. And I'm kind of looking at this and seeing that, you know, I have some wrinkles and little pieces that need to be turned a little bit. But most of that will work itself out. Okay, let's put our wire in before we forget. And this wire is very sturdy, so if you decide to use it several times, that will be fine because this wire is pretty good. I'm gonna twist it just once, just so it stay on there. Okay. Come back to the front. Let's check all this out again. Make sure this is laying the way we want it to. These tails down. And, you know, these are all things that you will learn as you progress in your bow making. How to expect these to look. Okay. Feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to flip it around to the back. So the clasp is on the back. And I'm going to pull tight. And I mean tight. I want to get it just as tight as humanly possible. And when I think I can't get it any tighter, I'm going to try some more. I think that's about it. Let me find my pliers that I need to clip that off with. Clip that off. Now, a lot of times what you try to do while it's still in the bow maker is to fluff it the way you want the wreath to, the way you want the bow to end up looking. It's pretty hard with this heavy ribbon because it wants to pop out of the center anyway. So that's why I went ahead and took it all out. But let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull the back or the bottom black one up on this side while I pull this one down to the bottom. So one black up, one black down. Like so. I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to pull the bottom one down and the top one up. I have to kind of get a hold of it clear into the center. There we go. There. And now, if it wasn't for the tails, you could see better, but the black ribbon is kind of in a crisscross pattern. Okay. Get these crazy tails out of here. I'd like to try to move them around to the back, but I'm not sure I'll be able to with this one. I forgot to say, I just took it for granted that you could read my mind, I guess. This white and red ribbon, it will stay just out to the side, just like it already is. Okay. Take this tail and I'm trying to move them to the back a little bit just so we can see the loops better. And, you know, I know it's hard to explain this to you now, but when you get this on a wreath, it'll be much easier to make sure everything's going the right direction that you want. Okay, same thing on this black and white. Up and down. Go clear into the middle if you need to pop that out. And on this side, down and up. Okay. That's what it looks like so far. Don't give up yet. This is half the work right here, is getting it pulled around and placed the way you want it, especially with this heavy ribbon. Okay. Get those tails down there. Okay. Now all we have to worry about is this red ribbon, and that's going to be easy. This one's just going to go up. It naturally wanted to go that way anyway. This one, not straight up, but kind of sideways. And then this one's going to be the little button loop in the middle. And then we're going to move that tail over here, which will be easier to get it to stay down once it's on the wreath. Okay, let's finish off the tails. I'm going to dovetail them. If you don't know what that is, you fold it in half. You cut from the folded side down to the ends, down to the corner. Snip it off. Okay. I'm going to do that to all the ribbon except the red and white. It's really too narrow to do that too. We'll just cut it at an angle. There we go. Feel like I'm manhandling this ribbon. I guess I kind of am. We'll have to clean off that velvet when it goes on the wreath. It gets little fuzzies on it. Dovetail that. And this. Same way with the black and white polka dots. You gotta get that folded right. There we go. And then this will just which way do I want it to go? I think like this. Doesn't really matter. There we go. And there's our beautiful bow. And if you want to see the wreath that this goes on, all you have to do is go to my Facebook page. It's just Prairie Dreams Decor. And later tonight, I'll be posting both of these videos to this video to YouTube and the other video to Facebook. So, but just go to Facebook if you want to see the wreath, and if you go to Prairie Dreams Decor and go to the drop-down menu under videos, you'd be able to find it. But that's all I have for you right now. So remember, be a dreamer like me. Good night.